And now to the football. 3 points this afternoon, and the championship will be clinched.
Well, it's one of those days that there's so much at stake here, and Celtic have never won all of their home games in the season, Derek, so they have something else to shoot for as well as winning the championship, as we see the familiar huddle.
16 home wins from 16 home games for Celtic this season in the Bank of Scotland SPL. Martin O'Neill's bench looks like this. Tom Boyd left out so that Chris Sutton can start. Jackie McNamara, Ruben Moratrick and young Jamie Smith. Celtic have won 29 of the 33 SPL matches they've played this season, conceding only 15 goals. 3 of them have come from Livingston. The Celtic faithful are hoping for an afternoon of riotous celebration. Sometimes nerves have a habit of getting in the way on such occasions. Barry Wilson for Livingston. Pacey player on the right. Looking for David Sousa. Canadian international who made an intelligent run into the area. Taken away by Mjällby. And to find Henrik Larsson, his fellow Swedish international. John Hartson is Larsson's striking partner this afternoon. There is the Livingston bench. Jokovic, the newcomer, signed just the other day. Didier Santini, the Frenchman. Stephen Trainey with the throw for Celtic. Made his Scotland debut just the other week against France. 5-0 pounding. There's Petrol for Celtic. And Didier Agat. Such a graceful performer the last couple of seasons. Confronted here by Gary Bolin. Agat once again. Early stages here at Parkhead. Celtic against Livingston. It's the first match after the split. And Craney might have a few problems in the form of Barry Wilson, Tommy.
Well, he's certainly going to get under pressure with him, but the two players, they should be equal on speed anyhow. He shouldn't lose out on speed to him. A little bit of experience missing, but it should be all right for him.
Oh, Lambert. Very likely to win at least one of the Player of the Year awards this season, Lambert. Maybe give a good account of themselves back on the 18th of August, drawing 0-0 at Amon Vale against Celtic. And then close on Boxing Day. Went down 3-1 at the end of January. Hartson on the interchange. Lambert's there, and it's a goal for Larsson. Henrik Larsson's 27th of the season. And the party's in full swing now.
Oh, nice move here. Just pull the ball back from the byline, and Larsson's going to do the rest for you. Beautiful move inside Petrov, and there's the pull to the old onion bag. And Larsson makes a really nice job with it. Lambert gets himself involved here. The ball pulled back. The keeper's pulled out of position completely, and it was all so easy. Look at how wide open that defence was.
Martin O'Neill punches the air with delight.
That gets the nerves out of the way, doesn't it?
I'm sure several thousand Celtic supporters around the world were doing likewise at that moment. What a start for Celtic. Steve Guppy tries to cut inside. And it's Agat. Looking to show Gary Bolin a clean pair of heels. Good thrusting play from Agat. Deflection into the clutches of Javier Sanchez Broto, the 30-year-old Spanish goalkeeper for Livingston. Lennon might well have to undergo a knee operation at the end of the season, Neil Lennon. It's been bothering him for some time now, maybe since Christmas. And fitting that Henrik Larsson should be the man here to give Celtic the lead. Scored 53 goals last season. That was his 27th in the SPL this time around. Wilson to leave Craney for dead. Well, just to get the cross in. Lee Makel in position for Livy, the former Hearts player, had a stint with Bradford City earlier this season. David Bingham. Lovell is the captain of Livingston. Good play from the visitors. And Stuart Lovell with the shot.
Well, Livy showing that they're not going to lie down, as you might expect. Lovell, nice move, a couple of nice moves on the ball.
Brian Quinn, the Celtic chairman. Of course, Dermot Desmond looking on as well. Man who actually watches a few of our telecasts from his base in Barbados.
Now if we could only have his money.
That would be another thing, wouldn't it? Sucking up the action, 5 minutes have elapsed. Some good driving play from Lambert already, and Agat. Rubio was the covering defender, the man with the highest number of yellow cards in the SPL this season, a grand total of 13. Would Lambert get your vote, Tommy, for Player of the Year here in Scotland?
Well, I tell you one thing, he certainly deserves it. 31 games, you know, you talk about Mr. Consistency, and he certainly is. When you play 31 games at the pace that he's played it, and at the level of play that he has, I think he would have to be.
John Hartson, overly aggressive play from the big Welshman. So we look again at Paul Lambert. Scotland career, of course, was resurrected in Paris just a week and a half ago. Guppy on the left. Forward by Creaney. Still filling in for Jos Valgaeren. Out after having to undergo a hernia operation a few weeks ago. Forward by Boland. Now Kino. An excellent ball. Now Kino, the Spaniard. And Wilson is threatening. Neil Lennon supporting the Celtic back three. Larson and Lambert. And Guppy providing wide support. This is great stuff from Celtic. Hartson just forcing his way past Gary Boland. There's Rubio.
Well, Hartson was just ridden off the ball there. Well, what a season Hartson's had. Money well spent, wasn't it?
Of course, he could easily have been on Rangers' books. They were about to sign him last season. He failed a medical.
Mind you, his medical condition looked okay all year, didn't it?
15 league goals for John Hartson since joining Celtic.
Not alone that, it gave Martin O'Neill so many more options. I mean, it gave him the option that he can play Sutton today in the centre of defence.
Sanchez Brotto. A bit of difficulty reading that situation. Marvin Andrews was just in front of him, the Trinidad and Tobago international defender. Agat with the throw for Celtic. Hartson, such a good player with his back to goal. Flick it into the path of Didier Agat. Decision goes Livingston's way.
Well, Agat slides into Bullen before he goes for the ball. But look at the job Hartson's doing of holding it up. He's big and he's strong, and looks like they may have called offside. And Lennon. No joy this time for Celtic, but they lead by 1-0. I'm sure that will get the thumbs up from Martin O'Neill. He won't allow himself the luxury of celebrating until it's absolutely official. Well, those lads from Kilray are like that. Want to bring it down to the last moment.
Gary Boland's long throw. Boland's first season with Livingston. The team who won Scottish League Division 1 last season. Barry Wilson has certainly played his part this time around. Loves to run at defences. Good passer. Smialbi gets involved. It's also with David Souza. He's strong in the air, the big Canadian. Boland. Didn't quite work out for Souza that time. Canadian of Italian descent. If you just joined us here on ESPN, it's Celtic 1, Livingston 0. If Celtic win the match, and they clinch their 38th championship. Goal by Henrik Larsson. There's 3 minutes on the clock.
Well, it's been a while, 20 years since they've won back-to-back. 81, 82. We'll need to be looking, he's looking at a couple of young players trying to make it back-to-back 3 times if they're still involved in the championship. There's a lot of rumblings in Scotland, isn't there, Derek?
Well, these are uncertain times, to say the least. Larsson. It's a very confident play.
Nothing uncertain about that, was there?
Now Guppy. Englishman, it's Lennon, the Northern Ireland international. Missed Northern Ireland's recent friendly against Liechtenstein because of injury. Now Keno for Livingston. One of the few teams here in Scotland, Livy, who have actually shown a willingness to have a go at the old firm here in Glasgow.
Well, it's certainly paid dividends for them, not so much in victories, but at least in moral victories. But I thought you saw a good sign there for Celtic, and I mean, it showed a sign of what has happened. Agat coming back to steal the ball on the defensive, working as a defender, and that's the big change in his game.
No real change, meanwhile, in the game of Henrik Larsson.
Just scores goals.
Almost instinctively. Lambert and Lennon together. Once it goes astray. Larsson's goal is the difference between the two sides.
Well, I think that L&L in midfield has really worked out for them well. I wondered about when Lennon came here, but he's done a magnificent job as the holding midfielder.
Larsson and Hartson with his back to goal. Almost returned the favour to Larsson. Didier Agat. Didn't have much space in which to work. There was a foul by the Frenchman.
You can see the nice little move here by Larsson. Hartson tried to feed it back to him, and then it breaks free to Agat. Hartson was open for a moment, but Agat just unable to feed the ball across to him.
Here again is Didier Agat. The 3 Livingston players around him. Lambert. Lennon. Guppy turning, using Craney and Petrov. Celtic biding their time. And Lennon's available here on the left. It's well read by Pettersson, former Lyngby player. Filling in at right back, Philippe Branca and Michael Hart, unavailable because of injury. You're enjoying this wherever you're watching around the world, whatever time of day or night it is with you. The SPL here on ESPN. Henrik Larsson with the goal in the 3rd minute. The ideal start for Celtic as they try to clinch the SPL title for the 2nd season on the trot. Tommy Smith joining me, Derek Ray, for commentary.
Well, so far it's gone Celtic way. That goal 3 minutes in kind of knocked the nervousness out, and now they're down to that grind it out to get that 1-0 lead. They're very good at that.
Martin O'Neill feels it's been altogether a better season for Celtic than it was last time around, even though they won the treble last term. Think back to that game against St Mirren in April of last year. It was a very ragged, nervous performance by Celtic, and the fans were nervous as well. You could sense that from the word go, but not this time around.
No, the party's on here already. I mean, the noise level is incredible.
Pettersson's in position for Livingston.
I'm sure they can't hear a thing in Fala Flanagan's.
Lee Mako is there in midfield. Livingston have been camped back inside their own half for most of the game so far. 14 minutes played. Celtic 1, Livingston 0, just off the back of John Hartson's heel. David Bingham, a tidy player. Now Barry Wilson, it's too much on the cross. He's looking for Sousa in the middle. Here's Agat. Bargain buy from Hibernian last season, costing Celtic around £50,000. Don't get too many bargains like that in the modern game. Rubio intervening there for Livingston. A bit of barging by John Hartson.
Well, I thought for a moment it was going to go the opposite way, but Hartson, I'm not sure that you could have called a foul there, but hey.
Livingston have been struggling of late, just 3 points picked up from their last 7 matches. Lennon for Celtic. Looked as though they were well poised to finish third in the table when they defeated Aberdeen at the turn of the year by 3-0 at Pittodrie. Nothing much has gone right for them since.
Oh, when you consider they've only scored 1 goal in the last 6 games, Derek, that kind of sums up what has happened to them. They've gone off the ball completely.
They are looking over their shoulders at Dunfermline in 5th place. Dunfermline have a good end to the season and Livingston continue to flounder. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the Powers could overtake the Livy Lions. Just a reminder, Sports Centre tonight here on ESPN. News and highlights from around the world, all the top sports stories. As always, check your local listings for the times in your area. That will surely be a free kick. The Boland, the culprit for Livingston. Steve Guppy might fancy this angle. Sanchez Brotto broke his leg earlier in the campaign. He's worked his way back. And Guppy with the free kick for Celtic. Commanding piece of goalkeeping by Javier Sanchez Brotto.
Well, no mistakes here. He reads it well. He has a couple of players coming in on the back post, but he comes out and, as you said, very, very commanding.
Saragossa win the 1995 Spanish Cup, former Spanish under-21 international. Guppy again starting on the left here for Celtic. Alan Thompson suspended. Bobby Petta fit again, but not in the starting 11. Quite come off from Henrik Larsson then. And more toing and throwing, and Petrov is the recipient of the free kick. For the wide option, Guppy, and Sanchez Brotto committed himself, trying to get his fingertips to the ball. Sutton, hardly mentioned his name at all so far. Creaney.
He's gained some very valuable experience on that left-hand side, hasn't he?
Seen as very important Scotland player of the future, Stephen Creaney. Johnson again. Using his muscle, bulk to good effect. Agat, excellent cross! Goal number 2 from John Hartson. Well, it's one from the Valleys. Absolutely ruthless, John Hartson, and surely there's no looking back for Celtic now. The championship party has well and truly begun.
Agat driving towards the byline, switches the point of attack. Hartson's in the middle. Nobody picked him up and he just banged it home. That's what Agat has done all year. That's what Hartson has done all year. And it's magnificent to see Celtic playing the way they've played all year. And the men that have brought them here and got them to the top of the table and kept them up there are playing a huge role today. You don't often see that in a game like this. Larsson and Hartson Celtic fans couldn't ask for anything more.
Well, at the start of the season, so much talk about Larsson and Sutton, the striking tandem that worked wonders for Martin O'Neill last time around. John Hartson has settled in here magnificently, and that's his 16th league goal of the campaign. David Bingham for Livingston. Livingston do have to make sure here that they keep their shape. Don't want to be on the wrong end of a thrashing, especially with the important last 4 games to come. Barry Wilson. This perhaps tells you why so many teams come here to Parkhead and shut up shop. Livingston haven't really done that, and have paid the penalty, albeit Celtic scoring really with the first 2 chances of the game.
When you go back to that second goal, it started with Craney down at his end of the field. I mean, he made that great move, read the ball well, and then it was just free flowing up the field.
Neil Lennon to start another Celtic attack. Larsson. Guppy changes wings. Didier Agat. Lambert directs the traffic. Difficult one for Guppy to judge. And then over there by the touchline, succeeds in winning the throw for Celtic. Hartson. And the May goals there for Livy. It comes to Agat. And we hope you're enjoying this wherever you're watching around the world. It's Celtic 2, Livingston 0. That's the SPL title decider. Gary Boland for Livy. And Tommy, really everything has gone right for Celtic so far.
Oh yeah, it's been a walk in the park for them so far. I mean, once you get that early goal, Derek, it makes such a big difference.
Sutton filling in at the back. It's Marvin Andrews with the header for Livingston. Comes to Lennon. Lennon once again. Craney.
Guppy having his best run.
Now back with Lennon. Oh, attractive football again from Celtic. Petrov and Lambert combining. Hartson's in again! Off the post! Oh, he was so unfortunate. John Hartson, he seemed to just catch Rubio after the fact. That would have been a stunning, sparkling third goal.
Would have been incredible, and watch the nifty little backheel here in midfield, which sets the whole thing up, and all the flair has been turned on. Hartson just can't control the ball. It runs up a bit. He makes a second attempt at it. Here's where he catches Rubio. I mean, this is just cheeky football. Lambert, Petrov, they're all involved, and Hartson here just can't find a handle on it, and then he finds the head. Takes the shot, comes back off the post. He's going to have a go at it again, and Rubio put his head in the way.
And normally Rubio is the man dishing it out with 13 bookings this season.
Oh, he got caught square on the chin.
The Uruguayan defender used to play for Real Madrid, also had a stint with Deportivo. Michael McBride, the Livingston physio, just walking with Rubio. And Lambert coming into the move, away by Marvin Andrews. Lennon.
Hartson's all business out there, isn't he?
Sutton is losing custody of the ball, wins it back. Hartson and Larsson, irresistible combination. There's Rubio for Livingston. It's a combination, Tommy, that's matured as well as the weeks have gone by.
Yeah, they begin to read one another very well. They react with one another very well, and they play off one another very well. And you can see out there today, they've decided, hey, we have this thing wrapped up. We're going to win it with style and flair now. Every little trick in the book is coming out today.
Agat. And Larsson perfectly positioned. It's Guppy on the left. And a useful cross for Hansen. He scores a second and Celtic's third. And this is turning out to be a championship celebration par excellence.
Well, Guppy is going to be far outside on that left-hand side, and he swings the ball back into the middle. Hartson coming through, and he bangs it home. Powerful header there from Hartson. Larsson played the ball out to Guppy. Guppy fed it back into the middle, and Hartson puts another bulge in the old onion bag, and they just keep coming here. This could be a rout.
A double for John Hartson. The Livingston defence posted missing. Livy's confidence taking a real battering. And I think it's safe to say Celtic will be celebrating a championship victory.
Come on, Martin, lighten up a bit, son. You're in front 3-0.
You wouldn't know it, would you?
Not a chance.
Well, I'm sure he's smiling inside somewhere. Here's Guppy. Now Hartson is the laying off. Larsson. Celtic desperate for more goals. Not content with 3. Agat. Difficult outing this for Gary Boland, as Agat running at him all the time, it seems. This is such a special occasion for the thousands and thousands of Celtic fans around the world who follow our coverage here on ESPN every week, in Australia, in New Zealand, in the West Indies, in Bermuda, South America. Hello to you, wherever you are. I'm sure this is making rather pleasant viewing.
Well, certainly 3-0.
They can't afford any slip-ups at the back. David Bingham's in for Livingston. Just a momentary scare for Celtic.
Well, 3-0 is the heart of any party, isn't it, if you're going to do a little bit of celebrating?
I'm sure the boys down under are enjoying a few sherbets as we speak.
Probably.
Pass by Lambert into the centre of midfield for Petrov, and then his through ball. Just too much on it.
That's 81 goals of the season for them now. And amazingly here, Derek, they've scored 3 goals on 4 shots. They've been very economical, haven't they?
Michael. Watching the Bank of Scotland SPL here on ESPN. Celtic are closing in on their 38th championship. They lead already here by 3-0. Henrik Larsson, that early strike, and then John Hartson with a double after 19 and 25 minutes respectively. He was also denied by the post. Between those 2 strikes, a miserable afternoon thus far for Rubio and company at the back.
And he got kicked in the head on top of everything.
Still, credit must go to Jim Leishman and David Hay. Jim Leishman on the left, David Hay on the right. Taking this Livingston side into the SPL. They've given more than a good account of themselves. This is an afternoon they might want to forget about. Boland.
Well, there's one party that didn't want to be invited to, isn't it?
There was actually talk in the build-up to this game from Stuart Lovell, the Livy captain, about disrespect being shown to Livingston about this being called a party, and Martin O'Neill actually was having none of it. He didn't like that description in the first place. Lennon, an excellent ball for Henrik Larsson. Forces the save from Sanchez Brotto. Superb movement from Celtic.
Great move here from Larsson, a great ball from Lennon. Right into space, Larsson. Difficult bit of an angle, but he forces the keeper into a really good save. It might not have gone in, but the keeper couldn't take a chance on that.
Stilian Petrov with the delivery here. Oh, the head flick, and Sutton off the base of the post. The Shelby was up there as well.
Well, could have been another one here as this ball comes through. It comes off the head of Bullen, put a head onto it. It looked like got himself in the right place at the right time.
Yes, I beg your pardon, from this angle it looked like wood that was struck.
Well, the way he's that head shaved, who could who could know the difference?
6 shots, 6 attempts at goal from Celtic, 3 goals scored. Just the one from Livingston. Slithering shot from Stuart Lovell. Lagat. Oh, Lambert, such a culture performer. Guppy. Taking on Pettersson. Larson was there again. Rubio trying to plug the gap. Celtic are relentless. This is a far cry from the nervous performance against St Mirren this time last season. Losing confidence, it's been that way from the word go. Agat. Not too predictable. And it's Andrews with a clearing header. And Craney and Barry Wilson certainly wasn't letting up.
Well, Craney did the smart thing, pulled away, and Wilson just ran into him.
Chris Sutton at the back. Hudson. The impressive Agat. Signed as a striker, converted rather successfully into a wide midfielder by Martin O'Neill. Larson's free kick goes against the Trinidad and Tobago man, Marvin Andrews.
Andrews is always going to have a tough time with Larson. Larson turns so quick. Andrews a little bit slower on the turn. Big man.
Andrews continues to watch Henrik Larsson. There's Lennon with the free kick for Celtic. And straight down the throat of Sanchez Brotto. Celtic have conceded just 1 goal in their last 8 games, and that was a screamer of a goal by Arthur Newman in the most recent Old Firm tussle. And we see just the 1 goal conceded during that time frame. 18 scored, can't really argue with that.
Now, if you go back to last year, leading up to the St Mirren game, they played a dozen games. They give up 3 goals. This year, in the dozen games leading up to today's game, they've given up 4. So they're consistent too, aren't they?
Larsson and Petrov, the Bulgarian, back to Henrik Larsson. Thought for a second about having a pop. Steve Guppy for Celtic. Created the last goal, and he sets up this one as well for Larsson. This is champagne football from Celtic. 2 goals for Henrik Larsson. Celtic lead Livingston by 4 goals to 0.
Well, Guppy's having a field day out there. Watch this little dummy from Neil Lennon. Lets it go to Guppy. Guppy, nice move, swings it back in. He sends everybody the wrong way, and Larsson just fights off the challenge there and puts the ball in the back of the net. Rubio is having a terrible time out there. Larsson just dismissed him with ease, and with authority he puts the ball in the back of the net. What a goal from Larsson.
Saw him net. Remember against Motherwell. The last match, a couple of occasions, he scored twice here. Celtic 4, Livingston 0. I don't think too many people were predicting this. It's one of the most free-flowing performances we've seen all season from Celtic, isn't it?
It's just showing that when the pressure is on, there is a bit of pressure on them today. There was a bit of pressure on them today, that they can play football.
Lee Makel for Livingston. Wasn't bad at all. He's carving away. Makel, the English midfielder, certainly made Robert Douglas think.
Well, he gets himself a little bit of room here. Doesn't miss by a whole lot, but it's going to be that wide open game now, 4-0. It's going to be like a practice session from Celtic from here on in. Great season, 31 games he's played in the fella.
Lennon. It's Craney. said he has watched the videotape of that France-Scotland game 2 or 3 times now, wants to learn from it, because you can only learn from playing against the world champions. Although it was, use the old cliche, a real baptism of fire for the youngster. Bingham for Livingston. Sutton trying to judge the bounce of the ball, did so rather well. Douglas.
Sutton just looks so accomplished as a defender, doesn't it? He looks like a completely different player when he's back there defending, does when he's going forward.
He doesn't enjoy playing there, he'd prefer to play up front, but he's a wholehearted competitor. He'll do whatever Martin O'Neill asks of him. Certainly gives Martin O'Neill extra options, given that Larsson and Hartson are fast becoming the attacking tandem of choice.
Yeah, it might be something that Sutton may prepare himself for next year, playing a lot of games back there.
So if Leeds United don't side him as the replacement for Aussie hitman, former Celtic player Mark Viduka. Larson's away again. He's terrorised this man, Oscar Rubio.
Rubio's had a tough time out there. Larsson gives him a little bit of a dunt here, and then he trips him. He just nicked his heel.
Johnny Boland with the Livingston free kick. Steve Guppy's having a remarkable afternoon for himself. He's created the last 2 goals. The 3rd goal scored by Hartson, and the 4th netted by Henrik Larsson. Early kick-off here in Glasgow today. It's only 20 minutes to 1 as we speak. Pressure there on the Celtic rear guard for once. With Sousa getting involved. Quiet performance here though by Stuart Lovell and his teammates. Boland. Finds David Bingham looking menacingly just outside the area. This is better from Livingston. Off the shots. That was optimistic. Stuart Lovell again. As in goes Agat. Oh, the tackle from behind. And Barry Wilson, who had switched out to this near side, be cautioned by referee Willie Young.
Well, he came in from the back, he cut him down. Just a little frustration there. Agat's having some game. I mean, the 2 wingers are playing extremely well. They're keeping the game wide, adding a lot of balance to that Celtic team.
It's the 3rd caution of the season for Barry Wilson. The first booking here this afternoon. It again. Oh, Andrews collapsing in a heap. Larsson deliver it first time. Bad mistake, a bad slip up by Marvin Andrews, creating space for Larsson. Guppy is having a field day. Lennon offside. John Hartson. If you're watching in Latin America, more football coming up later on today. Athletic Bilbao against Barcelona, to be followed tomorrow by Valencia against Real Sociedad. As always, you can join Mike Hill and Eddie Mighton for commentary. Valencia pushing for the championship, level on points at the top with Real Madrid. Celtic 4, Livingston 0 here at Parkhead, if you've recently joined us.
If you have, the only thing we want to know now, what's going to win the Grand National later on at Aintree. We know the result of this one. If we can get the result of the Grand National, now we can make a few bob.
Celtic's championship win last season coincided with the running of the National. It's happened again. David Bingham had no real prospect of getting to the ball. Stephen Craney with the throw, being watched here by his mother and father, May and Danny, in the crowd.
Did you get a look at them?
Not yet. I'm told they're here, however. And Lambert carries out his job almost effortlessly at times, it seems. As we know, that's not really the case. Header from Boland. Livingston struggling to get going. Lee Makel in that central midfield position. Peterson hasn't ventured forward all that much. There's the full-back, Gary Boland, and Douglas says that's mine. Mark Douglas, the former bricklayer. And that little run-in with Bertie Vogts at the airport in Paris right after the France-Scotland game seemed to have been some sort of misunderstanding. Douglas felt he'd been promised a run in that match, which didn't come. His wife just given birth that week as well. It seems that Douglas will now play for Scotland up at Pataudry against Nigeria on Wednesday week.
Should be careful what you wish for. They're a team who look like they might be back on the rails. Nigeria.
Bertie Vogts, of course, in the middle of his, or at the start of his, rebuilding programme. Wilson. Rubio's only stepped forward on a couple of occasions. And took a slight deflection. Corner kick then to Livingston. Andrews lending height to the attack. Livingston's first corner. Barry Wilson. John Hartson trying to defend. Stuart Lovell with the pot shot. And the counter-attack is on here for Hartson. And Larsson racing forward again. Could it be the hat-trick for Henrik Larsson? Not this time. 9 times out of 10 you'd expect the Super Swede to bury it from that sort of position. He's forced himself a bit too wide, Tommy.
Yeah, I thought he might have tried to chip the keeper. I thought he might have just tried to slide it over his head like we've seen him do on many occasions. But instead he tried to push it wide and a little bit too slow developing.
Celtic have given Livingston an absolute roasting in this first half, and they're at it again. Agat. Hartson. Just a heavy touch. Cost him that time. And two of the fans edge for their half-time pie and bovril. It's not really pie and bovril weather, it's very pleasant indeed. Hope you'll stay with us at half-time for our Sports Centre in-game update with Bob Rumbold. Our news of the USA-Spain Davis Cup tennis, basketball and more. And after that, in our World Cup update, we'll be focusing on the Nigerians as they look at Sweden, one of their opponents in the group of death, Group F, at the World Cup finals. To Celtic, it was almost 5.
Yeah, look at this for a run right down the far side of the park, takes on Bullen, gets away from him, and then I thought he would have chipped him there, but he pushed the ball a little bit too far out and just couldn't turn it back in.
Livingston haven't given the Celtic defence all that much to worry about here.
There's a lot of lads here getting a real early start on half-time, isn't there?
Lee Makel. Perhaps a few of them missed breakfast given the early kick-off. Stays in play from Yalby.
I had a couple of nephews left Dundalk early this morning. Podrick and Paul to get to the game. I'm sure they missed breakfast.
I'm sure they think it's worth it.
I'd say they're probably, well, they couldn't afford champagne after making that trip, but who knows.
And Celtic again trying to slice open the defence. Header from Andrews in the nick of time. Back to Javier Sanchez-Broto. Livingston, the team formerly known as Meadowbank Thistle. Before that they were Ferranti Thistle. Founded back in 1949.
If anything, it's too easy here for Celtic. The fans have kind of accepted that this game's over, isn't it? I mean, there's no singing where everybody's gone quiet.
Certainly not as dramatic as last season's clincher against St Mirren, when it was in doubt until the final whistle.
Oh yeah.
Stuart Lovell trying to pull the strings. It goes to Robert Douglas. 2 goals from Henrik Larsson. A double from John Hartson as well. And Celtic on easy street here as they cruise towards the 38th League Championship. Steve Guppy has played his part, setting up a couple of the goals. Half-time score, an astonishing one here at Parkhead. Celtic 4, Livingston 0. The title beckons. It's clever play. Lambert is flicking it into Agath's path. Elby. Larsson. Now Lennon. Now Petrov. And he's walking up now. John Hartson. Larsson! Dancing into that attacking position. Livingston defenders struggling to cope with these Celtic raids. Agath now. Oh, poor decision. Oh, he recovers though. Wonderfully well. Larsson trying to score in style.
And appeals for a handball too. Maybe the defender knocked it down with his hand. Oh, that was nasty. That was really nasty.
Yeah, Sharif must surely be walking a bit of a tightrope. The referee Willie Young says play on. Sharif who went lunging into Paul Lambert earlier. And now can Celtic add to the total? Larsson! The hat-trick! Livingston defence ripped apart. Henrik Larsson absolutely merciless. Celtic 5, Livingston 0. The championship belongs to Celtic.
Beautiful ball swung back here, and Larsson just a simple job of sticking it in the net. Neil Lennon feeds it inside. Lambert got himself involved, standing over on the line with the ball. He held it for an eternity, and then the ball switched back into the middle, and Lambert, that's 3 for me, he said. What's up, boys?
Well, what's up is Celtic have a 5-goal advantage. It's one of the most convincing performances of the season. Still 30 minutes left for play. Sutton shepherds it back to his goalkeeper, Robert Douglas. Henrik Larsson, 3 goals this afternoon, 29 for the season in the SPL. And that's got the crowd excited once again.
Well, it actually took the crowd back into it, didn't it?
Substitution is in the offing. Livingston's 3rd and final switch. Richard Britton will replace the tiring Sousa. Britton, one of the young players who's come through the Livingston system. But this afternoon, quite frankly, is all about Celtic. Few sights and sounds more imposing as far as a visiting side is concerned. And the Celtic choir in full flight. Boland for Livy. It's for looking ball this time. He's Skillfully cut out by Ram Douglas. Those of you who are new to Scottish football, who perhaps have only started to follow the game here since we began our coverage on ESPN, might think it's always been this way. It's always been Celtic winning championships with gay abandon, running away from the opposition. Not so at all in recent years. The 90s belonged to Rangers. But my goodness, Celtic have bounced back in style the last couple of seasons under Martin O'Neill. Back to the 1980s, it was very much a four-horse race here in Scotland with Aberdeen and Dundee United heavily involved. Those days appear to have gone. Trainee. So was there from Livingston, way by Lennon. Celtic 5, Livingston 0 here at Parkhead. This beautiful April afternoon. Henrik Larsson with a hat-trick. John Hartson still has a chance of netting a hat-trick. It's arguably Celtic's most complete performance of the season. Third time they've managed 5 goals in the league game during this campaign. Tommy Smith joining me, Derek Ray, for commentary here on ESPN.
They've won a lot of championships, but this must be one of the most convincing winners of all time. I mean, the way they've played out there, this has just been spectacular.
Trainee. Sutton. It's Melby. Was available. Trainee giving Livingston a touch of the ball. Confident turn by young Trainee. And again, Sheriff is there to meet him. Doesn't shy away from the physical side of the game, Sheriff. Agat twisting and turning, outpacing Gary Boland. Agat. And oh, it was so near. Henrik Larsson almost at his 4th. Didier Agat created that right out of nothing.
Well, he just blew by Bolland and swings it back into the middle. That's worked so well for them today, changing the point of attack to have the defenders turned the wrong way and the attackers are coming in droves. It's a marauding line coming through there.
John Robertson having a chat with Martin O'Neill, teammates of course at Nottingham Forest in the old days. Robertson, the former Scotland international.
A couple of good European Cup victories in that team, wasn't there?
Agat again, unrelenting. The Celtic trying to thread it through to Larsson. Second crack of the whip for Agat and Hartson. Still Guppy for Celtic. Corner.
Oh, Livy have dropped their head, Derek. They're not playing at all.
Demoralising this for Livingston. Dunfermline will emerge victorious this weekend, and it's game on once again in the fight for Europe. Petrov comes to Agat. Sailed over the head of Jokovic. Having trouble containing Didier Agat. He's not the only one. Lambert seems to have recovered from the knock that he took earlier. Lennon. The Celtic have another goal in them. Really having trouble imposing themselves on this game. It's been all Celtic. Trainee at the back. Agat has been heavily involved in this match. Celtic supporters would like to see Lubo Moravcik. At some stage, of course, he's in his final season with Celtic. 26-year-old playmaker, and on cue, Moravcik is now warming up. Makel's there for Livingston. Will this be their moment to shine? And the chance is squandered. It fell to Jokovic. Sheriff. They've been outclassed. In many ways, Livingston were always on a hiding to nothing, coming here to Parkhead on the afternoon. But they knew could see Celtic clinch the championship. And there's no doubt that will happen now.
Well, the bookmakers got it right. It was 1-6 Celtic this morning, 9-2 a draw, and 12-1 Livy if you fancied your chances with them.
This is better again from Livingston. Barry Wilson, stinging shots. Couldn't quite keep it down.
Oh, a couple of nice moves here. Neil Lennon, the ball knocked across, and there's the shot just over the top.
Celtic fans' wish has been granted. Steve Guppy, after a superb performance on the left, is replaced by Lubomir Moravcik. He's been such a talisman for Celtic, this man. Made that dramatic entrance, sparkling performance in the Old Firm game a couple of seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, in the 5-1 win. Celtic fans keep asking the question, where was he before? Why had no one heard of him until he reached his early 30s?
Amazing story, isn't it? It's nice that Martin O'Neill has decided to give him a run out here today and let him be part of this great celebration. Strange to see a crowd with no shirts on at this time of the year in this part of the world, isn't it?
Well, don't be deceived, it's not that warm. It's all relative here in Scotland, you know.
Fire is just getting oiled up, isn't it?
The celebrations will surely be running long into the night.
I mean, oiled in the perfect sense of the word, that they've lubricated their voices.
Another foul by Sheriff, this time on Petrov. Not quite sure what Petrov has been doing to his hair. Looks as though perhaps a bit of white paint got in the way.
A little bit of green too. I think it's green and white.
Is that what it is? Moravcik. Just come on. Still trying to find his feet. And a big week ahead on the UEFA Champions League front. Our live game on Tuesday for most of you. Wednesday, if you're down under, is Barcelona against Panathinaikos. Champions League quarter-final, second leg. Panathinaikos with a 1-0 advantage from the first game. We'll be broadcasting that game, Tommy.
Yeah, that's going to be something to look forward to. There'll be a lot of green there and a lot of shamrocks as well. It could be a big day for Panathinaikos.
It's a big day for Celtic. Here at Parkhead. Barry Wilson has had his moments in this match for Livingston. The cross comes in. Wayward by Britton. Lovell, the captain, has tried to hold things together in midfield alongside Makel.
Livy are pushing everybody up now, Derek. You just feel that one of these moments is going to be a quick counter, and maybe here it comes.
Yes, they are a bit vulnerable. Livingston proved to be vulnerable to the counter-attacks. Moravcik and Sheriff. And again, referee Willie Young opts for the laissez-faire approach. Celtic supporters aren't terribly happy with the treatment meted out by Sheriff, and a mistake by Sanchez Brotto. That's a corner as Hearts had tried to capitalise. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, he was dicing with death.
Well, Sheriff has certainly taken the law into his own hands out there since he's come on, and he's got good encouragement from the referee. This could have been just a lack of concentration here, and it almost cost him. Look at that.
Lambert, the Celtic captain. Hansen was there alongside Henrik Larsson. He certainly has the stomach for the fight, as always. Lennon. Confident passing here from Celtic. Sutton. Still in Petrov. Play on, they're tackle from Lee Makel. Suspicion of a trip. And it is a free kick to Celtic this time. Carved out rather effectively. Moravcik. Larson was available. Larson also wanted the ball played to him.
Well, you know the way Livy are playing out there, they become so chippy. You're just inviting a disaster because Celtic are really getting aggravated out there with all the kicking that's going on.
But now Livingston on the counter-attack, and Mjalby's having trouble. Barry Wilson scores a consolation goal for the visitors. A real celebration from Wilson. It's been a difficult afternoon for Livingston, but at least they have broken their duck now. Barry Wilson with the goal after 73 minutes.
Well, this is a case of Celtic being caught out of the back, and Wilson just runs down the middle and he takes his goal very, very nicely. Nice ball. He ran onto a good finish here. He gets in front of Mjalby and he just slots it around Rab Douglas. Good running, good control of the ball, kept it nice and close to himself and just slipped it inside of the post.
It's Wilson's 6th league goal of the season. Means he's now level at the top of the Livy scoring chart with the suspended David Fernandez and Francisco Quino. Agat. It's sheer pace. And it comes to Agat for Sanchez Brotto. Sheriff.
Well, now Celtic are even. They've given up 8 at home and 8 on the road for a total of 16.
Might give Livy a bit of encouragement. Jokovic making his way forward. And it's Neil Lennon who nods it back to Douglas. Jamie Smith and Jackie McNamara are poised to come on here for Celtic, Tommy.
Well, it's a case of just bringing everybody in, get them involved now, use the 3 substitutes, make them part of the celebration.
Sherif Toure Mamam. And Mjalby does the shepherding. Douglas does the gathering. Moravcik's away this time. Oh, it's superb play by Moravcik. And Andrews with a header off the crossbar. It was almost an own goal. Larson. Oh, he took aim. And perhaps ought to have done a bit better, but well, who can say anything against a man who has netted a hat-trick?
Hartson misplayed it. If Hartson had stood back and waited the ball to come off the crossbar, all he had to do was just nod the ball in, but he didn't realise it was going to hit the crossbar.
Agat for Celtic. All the way back to Chris Sutton. Celtic 5, Livingston 1. Livingston will have to tread very carefully in the weeks ahead, knowing that Dunfermline stand the best chance of catching them, as the top 4 teams will in fact go to Europe, will be in European competition next season. It's because it's a Celtic Rangers final. No representative as such from the Scottish Cup in the UEFA Cup. Sheriff. The wide man is Britton. Makel tries to change wings and find Gary Boland. Wilson. It's good to see Wilson find the net for Livingston. He has worked hard. Perhaps the most effective performer, even though he's been starved of service. Lapse that time by Jokovic. Hartson. About timing the pass through to Larson. Moravcik. Walking pace now, Paul Lambert. That's because a substitution will be made here by Celtic, and Lambert will depart. The Celtic captain, what a season he has had. Standing ovation for Paul Lambert. He's a thorough professional, this man, and he'll be replaced by the promising Jamie Smith.
Great season for Lambert. Delighted to see him go off under his own steam. I thought he was going to be injured. It's delightful to see him back too, that his international career has been resurrected.
And Stephen Traney also be replaced. Young defender has come on leaps and bounds in the last few weeks. SPL Young Player of the Month for March. And on comes Scotland international Jackie McNamara.
Well, certainly Traney bodes very well for Celtic as a good young defender. It's nice to see them bringing one through the system. He's going to have some career if he keeps going the way he is without an injury.
13 minutes to go, and then the party will truly begin. I think it's fair to say it started even perhaps ahead of this match. Moravcik. Early touch for Jamie Smith. Now Lennon. McNamara playing in the unfamiliar position of wide on the left-hand side of the Celtic defence. Perhaps a bit rusty, unable to pick out Henrik Larsson accurately. And Jamie Smith is a very exciting young prospect. Going to torment the Livingston defence that time. 5-1 the score here, if you've just joined us. Livingston scoring through Barry Wilson. There's Johan Mjalby, really imposing himself, getting stuck in. Came off Lee Makel. Lennon for Celtic. I wonder, Tommy, if you agree with Martin O'Neill's assessment of this season being better than last.
Yeah, I think so. I think Celtic have a lot more depth this year than they had last year, and they've showed a lot more style, and they've also showed a lot more grittiness when they had those 1-0 victories.
Here's Hartson. And well, the referee, Willie Young, takes exception to the comportment of Hartson. He was perhaps backing into his man, Rubio. You're watching the Bank of Scotland SPL here on ESPN. Celtic Park is our venue. It's 5-1 here to Celtic. A hat-trick from Henrik Larsson. A pair of goals by John Hartson. A consolation goal for Livy from Barry Wilson. Celtic now just 10.5 minutes away, plus stoppage time, from celebrating championship number 38.
He's checking the watch. Come on, give us a smile, Martin. No smile. Those Derry fellas are very hard to impress, aren't they?
Want to count your chickens. Now Moravcik gets the perfect ball. Petrov was racing into the area. That time Celtic have managed 5 goals in an SPL fixture this season. There to organise things for Livingston. Sharif. $59,752 the attendance, and the speculative long-range drive from Stuart Lovell. Asking a lot of Lovell to beat Douglas from that sort of position. Former Hibs man, of course, Stuart Lovell. He said he's an Australian international, but it emerged the other day that his caps were both in friendly games. So David Hay was actually plugging in for Scotland, saying he would qualify for Scotland and might like to be picked by Bertie Folks. It would seem a bit strange, having already represented the Socceroos.
The world of football anymore, Derek, nothing is strange.
Grim-faced Jim Leishman and David Hay to go back to early February for their last SPL win. And a few people here in Scotland have been saying for some time now that the Livy bubble has burst.
Well, I think the only bubbles today are from the Celtic champagne. Now they're starting to sing.
Jamie Smith on the left, and Peterson for company. McNamara. No clean sheet for Robert Douglas. That was scuppered. And Barry Wilson. Well, he's there, looking a bit hesitant. Jokovic tried to capitalise. And the shot, well, it wasn't a bad one at all from Barry Wilson. Signs of life from Livingston up front in these closing stages.
Well, Mialbi caused all the problems, and then Neil Lennon with a very unconvincing clearance, and Wilson just banged it back again into the stanchion holding up the net. But the Celtic defenders there, the Celtic players just causing all the problems for themselves. It's amazing how often Hartson gets called, and when you look what Sharif has done since he came into the game and hasn't gotten called at all.
Oscar Rubio with the Livingston free kick. Useful looking ball it was. Again, Jokovic got himself into that intriguing position inside the box. Corner it is to Livy.
Once again, a little ball watching here by Celtic. Look at it, you let the ball go through like that, Sutton did, and Jokovic gets in behind him.
With the throw on this near side. Most people expected Livingston would go straight back down. That was the thought at the start of the season, that with their lack of experience they wouldn't be at all equipped to stay in the top flight. And they've done that and then some, even allowing for this late season sag. Whether they're ready to give a good account of themselves in Europe should they qualify, it's a different story. Wilson again. Kamara and Smith. And Larson tight beside the touchline. Didn't quite work out. Stuart Mullen. Gary Boland, the long range drive. Goal kick. And still no hint of a gross at the ready. And now Martin O'Neill. Will he allow himself a smile? Well, that goes against his nature. But my goodness, this man has turned this team, this club around. Now a smile, and why not? So now the moment has come for Celtic to accept the trophy. A few boos for Roger Mitchell, the chief executive of the SPL. There he is on the right. The trophy is in position. Roger Mitchell steps aside. Tom Boyd, we're told, together with Paul Lambert, will receive this trophy. The Bank of Scotland officials make the presentation. It's Paul Lambert who holds the trophy aloft. Celtic are the champions for the 38th time, for the second season on the trot. Team to play for, and what a season it has been for Celtic. Liverpool in his final season here at Parkhead. He'll be moving on. Remember this for some time to come, I'm sure. Martin O'Neill happy to remain in the background. And his players accept the acclaim. Agat. Bargain basement buy.
Milk, lemonade and chocolate. Can't beat that combination. The breakfast of champions.
Robert Douglas didn't have an awful lot to do this afternoon. Proved himself to be a more than capable goalkeeper. Steve Guppy, with his better performances here today.
Sean Maloney gets a lift at the trophy.
Nice to see that.
He's wondering if many more will he lift.
And the weather has cooperated. Celtic have put in one of the finest performances of the season to clinch the SPL title.
That's not my nephew, by the way, just in case you're wondering.
Glad to hear it.
Me too.
I'm sure these celebrations are being repeated around the world.
Congratulations, does it feel better every time?
Oh yeah, you never get used to it anyway. It feels absolutely fantastic, and you know, it's always going to be hard when you know what you have to do from the beginning. But today I think we showed our class right from the word go, and yeah, the final result was tremendous.
What did it mean to you to get a hat-trick on today of all days?
Oh, it's obviously very, very nice, but I mean the main thing is that we won the trophy that we've been playing for all season, and the way, the style we did it in was tremendous.
People after the game will talk about you and John Larson, your goals, but can I give you the chance to pay tribute to the quality of service you were given today and throughout the season?
Yeah, no, but I never made a secret out of that. I mean, I had Alan Thompson who'd been playing many good goals for me, but today Paul gave me twice 2 good balls that I shouldn't miss, but I didn't, so I'm happy. But that's the strength of the team today. I mean, we have loads of players who can score goals from the back right through to the midfield and all the way, and that's something you need in today's football, because it's very hard to rely on one or two. And I think if you look today, today was me and John who got the goals, but the service is absolutely tremendous.
Henrik, enjoy your night.
Thank you very much.
He's always modest, Henrik Larsson. He now has 29 league goals for the season. And already it's quite a party here in the East End of Glasgow.
St. Martin from Kilrea getting
John, what a day for the whole Harrison family.
Oh yeah, fantastic, you know, doesn't come much better than this, does it? Brilliant.
What do you think of the atmosphere today? Have you ever seen anything like this in your career?
It's phenomenal, really. It's absolutely unbelievable. Unless you're actually here to see it yourself, and you know, to play in front of this crowd every other week is just a dream come true for me. And you know, it's fitting that we win the league, and obviously I hope there's much more success to follow, because the fans deserve it. They're unbelievable.
What about the quality of service you get? Is it every bit as good as you would expect in the Premiership?
Yeah, service is different class. You know, you saw Didier Gak flying down the right there. He's got such a good engine, even in the second half. Last minute, you know, he was up and down, and you know, in the end, we phoned it up half time, but we weren't comfortable, I thought, in the end.